Hello students, welcome back. Aschelminthus. We stopped here in the last video, that is about Aschelminthus. So organ system level of organization, pseudocoelomates, they are also called as roundworms, dioecious, then they have internal and external fertilization too. Some of them are endoparasite, that means which lives inside the body of a host organism. Let me move on to the next phylum then. It's phylum Annelida. See the word itself, there is annuli, means ring. There is there. So already I have told you they have segmented body. The segmentation is mainly found in the annelids. Okay. So that nature is a metamerism. They also have the coelomate body. So annelida examples. What are the annelida? You have examples. Leeches. Then also earthworm. Earthworm once already I have shown you. Okay. Again let me show you about that. Okay. So even in earthworm, even in the leeches, you can see the serially repeated units are there, which is known as segmented body. So segmented body is a feature of this, and that also serially repeated, which is known as metameres, and they are another structure which helps for their movement is setae, S-E-T-A-E is another feature. Okay, so segmentation feature is the main part of feature of the notable feature of phylum Annelida is a segmented body. That's a notable feature of phylum Annelida, segmented body. Then what are the features of Annelida? Yes, they are aquatic, they are terrestrial, they can be aquatic, they can be terrestrial. Then some of them are also some of them are fresh as well as marine, and some of them are parasitic, which exhibit again organ system level of organization. They exhibit organ system level of organization. So which are the system are well developed in them? They have a closed circulatory system, right? They have the circulatory system, right? How it is possessed? A closed circulatory system is present. Then one more thing is that there are two structures which helps for their body functions. One nephridia, which acts as a osmoregulatory organ, and as well as what is another role of this nephridia? They also helps for excretion. So name the excretory structure in Annelida. This is nephridia. There is another clue I given here in the last class also. D and D comes there in the flatworms, flame cells. Here Annelida, nephridia. That sounding, just to see the last prefixes. Dia, is it? Yes. Here Annelida, it is nephridia. DD sounds more. So that is how we can correlate and remember that. Nephridia and parapodia is there. Parapodia is a locomotory structure which helps for their movement. Okay, so parapodia, that is in Nereis. Look at the textbook diagram. Nereis structure is shown there. Just I have the specimen also for this. No. Yes, Nereis specimen just now I don't have. But you can see in your textbook, you can see on the side there will be like this lateral appendages are there, right? If this is the Nereis, you can see there is the lateral appendages are there. Okay, so that is the structure which helps for their movements. That's aquatic. Nereis they are aquatic, so they have this parapodia structure. And remember, here Nereis is dioecious. That is the exceptional case. Phylum Annelida have that another feature is that Nereis is dioecious. In the sense, they're the male and female reproductive structures are found in a separate, or male and female are separate. In simple term, you can see. So Nereis is dioecious, but earthworm, which are the another remaining here? Yes, leech and as well as Ferritima, all are monoecious. Okay, so Nereis is dioecious, whereas earthworm, then what is another one? leech are monoecious. This also I have explained in the previous video. Now, yeah, about the earthworm, that one structure I told you, can you remember that structure which helps for their copulation, which also helps for their laying the eggs and all? That is a clitellum. Okay, there is a dark band of structures are there. There is a dark band is there. Just observe closely any earthworm if you got, or else look at any diagram. So you can see there is a dark band is there which shows the clitellar region, which act as a gland which helps for the copulation as well as for laying the eggs. And you know that this earthworm has serially repeated units, and that in that 100 segments and all there. So in a particular segments we can see that clitellar region having the glands in it. Okay, now next phylum, it is phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda, the meaning is jointed legs. Okay, they have the jointed legs. So what are the examples for phylum Arthropoda? Remembering the examples for phylum Arthropoda, just you know that you hate to see some animals, right? So I am having that animal with me. Yes, scorpion. See, the main feature of this animal, this phylum, is jointed legs. Okay, jointed legs is a main characteristic feature of this phylum Arthropoda. So here it is another animal. It's a centipede. Centipede also you can see this is jointed legs. And phylum Arthropoda speciality is that one of the phylum which having the largest animal diversity in them. Okay, see that. I want you to focus more on the jointed appendages, which is a characteristic feature of this phylum Arthropoda, and this is a prawn. And this is a very familiarly you might have seen in your locality, and very nice to touch also, right? Do you like to touch this animal? Yes, just to see its ventral side, you can see how many legs are there for that. Yes, so all those are jointed appendages. You can see that the jointed, their appendages are joined. Now, in the Arthropoda, one more feature, arthro means jointed, poda means legs. This I have told in the last video also, jointed legs. Then one more very beautiful butterflies and insects also part of this phylum Arthropoda. So, yes. So dried specimen of insect is there. Okay, so you can see, and there that's one more exoskeleton is hard and has that yes, hard surface is there which makes them to survive and made them to consider as one of the successful animal on the earth, right? Jointed appendages, then exoskeleton, then body is divided into two segments, two body as well as three segmented body also there. For example, if you take the example of cockroach, okay, here head, hand, what is the next one? It's abdomen region, and some of them will have the head, thorax and abdomen, three regions also there. Some of them will we can say head, then thorax and head and thorax will be fused. So it is called as cephalothorax, where it is fused. Cephalo means head, thorax means trunk region. So if the trunk, thorax and head region is fused together, then it's known as cephalothorax. Then abdomen is separate. So either they may have three segmented or two segmented head or body segments can be classified on that basis also. Then body is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. Remember, that's why they are one of the successful animals. And respiratory organs are gills, lungs, lungs. Then Malpighian tubules are the excretory organs. Then trachea is the respiratory system found in the insects. Likewise, then most of them are dioecious. Fertilization is internal, oviparous, and some of them are ovoviviparous also there, right? Next, about the phylum Mollusca. Just let me go with the next phylum. It is phylum Mollusca. Mollusca, it is one of the second largest animal kingdom. Okay, sorry, second largest phylum, not kingdom. It's a second largest phylum. So, which is the first largest? It is a phylum Arthropoda. So, phylum Mollusca is the second largest phylum in the animal kingdom. Now, what is the very speciality of this phylum is soft-bodied. They are very soft-bodied. Their animal body itself is very soft-bodied. Then I remember that almost a little part is covered already. So, I just don't want to repeat again, but few more things which has very distinct features. Head, then foot and hump. So how this head and muscular foot, see, remember, head, there is a muscular foot and there is a visceral hump. So if you take the example of the snail, you can see there is a head part also located where there is a, yes, what the structures are called as, which have the sensory tentacles. How the head has a sensory tentacles. Then this region is a head, okay. Head is, this region is the head. Then you can see there's a foot-like structure, small foot-like structures also there, but it is muscular, highly muscular there. So muscular foot, there is a head, sensory tentacles are there. Then just then about the visceral hump. So there is a what is this visceral hump? A soft, spongy layer of skin forms a mantle. Okay. Then there's a distinct head, muscular foot and visceral hump. Then there is a mantle. So this is covering will be there, a soft spongy layer which covers the visceral hump. It's a mantle. Then there's a cavity is present between the visceral hump and the mantle, and which is called as mantle cavity. So what is mantle cavity? It's the space between the mantle and the visceral hump is called as mantle cavity. Then what is where the gills are located? In this mantle cavity, there's a space will be there. Okay, that mantle cavity, feather-like gills are present. These gills are helpful for the respiratory as well, which helps for the respiratory as well as excretory functions. Two functions are carried out by the same. Suppose if you consider even our lungs can be a respiratory organ as well as excretory organ. Can you find out or tell me why? Why our lung also considered as a respiratory as well as excretory organ? Even kidney, we used to tell it as a excretory organ. But in case, in some way, lungs are excretory in function because they expels out the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a unuseful gas or unused gas produced from our body. It's produced as a waste from our metabolic reaction, right? So it is so that's why lungs also a excretory organ. So here gills are the respiratory and excretory organs are there. Then radula. What's another important structure is radula. The mouth, okay, mouth region, if you look at the mouth region closely, there is a structures which act as a radula. Radula means a gastric organ for feeding, okay. So what is that feeding organ? It is a organ which helps for feeding. Just to how our limbs collects, how our hands helps to take the food into our mouth. Likewise, the radula, the organ which helps to feed the food into the mouth. Okay, radula is a rasping organ. So another name for this is a rasping organ. Then about their reproduction, they are dioecious. That means sexes are separate. Sexes are separate. Fertilization, both as which are the fertilization, both external and internal fertilizations can be take place. Now examples are there. What are the examples for phyla mollusca? Yes, sepia, loligo, squid, then cuttlefish, dentalium, tusk shell, then yes, I have one specimen to show under phyla mollusca here. It's a, which one? It is a sepia, okay, sepia, which is also known as cuttlefish. Then what are the examples? Phyla, right? Phyla globosa. Here animal is dried, only the dried skeleton is there. Phylum mollusca, gastropoda. They are also called as gastropoda. So you can see this is a calcareous shell which makes them a protective, which gives a protection to their complete muscular body. See, we know that some of them are edible, right? Phyla is also edible. Some of the oysters, then even the seashells, you know that those are collected phylum, those animals which having that shells are collected and are used for as a food for human beings, right? So actually, and also I know that those animals which are seafood usually are unavailable in the foreign countries like in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, all those countries. They don't have the seafood availability is less. So they used to export these animals in a box which can preserve it in a normal condition, and they used to export. So coastal regions are well known for that. So even the culturing of these mussels, this pearl oyster, or even these shells also considered of economic value, which comes under aquaculture. This is the part of the aquaculture, pisciculture. So all those are the part of this, which deals with the culturing of these animals. So about the phyla mollusca, some more points are, what other points? They have indirect as well as direct development. Then can we move to the last phylum under phylum Non-chordata? Which is that? It is phylum Echinodermata. Echinodermata is the last phylum, but can't say it is not the last, but not the least. So we used to tell like that, right? So even Echinodermata have its own importance. Echinodermata, spiny bodied animals, also known as spiny bodied. Why it is known as spiny bodied? Because all over the body it has a spine like structure, so it's known as spiny bodied animals. So that meaning itself like that, Echinodermata, spiny bodied animals. So last phylum under phylum Non-chordata, it is Echinodermata. So Echinodermata, very important thing is that have an endoskeleton of calcareous shell. Their so far all this in the phyla mollusca, just now I shown you the gastropod shell, right? This is a calcareous exoskeleton which is present outside to their body. Inside there is a highly muscular organ is there, right? So but in the Echinodermata or in the starfish, endoskeleton is hard. Okay, this is a starfish. Yes. Starfish, which comes under phylum Echinodermata. It is the endoskeleton of calcareous shell. What does the calcareous means? Which made up of calcium carbonate. Okay, calcareous ossicles are there. So that's why it is named as spiny bodied animals or Echinodermata. Then very important thing, all are marine. In that all the organisms are marine. Then which system level of organization they have? they have organ system level of organization. They have organ system level of organization. And here, one more important feature of this, they have indirect development. That means they show the larva stage in their life cycle. So symmetry, if you consider the symmetry, adult will have the bilateral symmetry. No, just opposite, okay? Because we used to consider that's advanced form, right? Bilateral symmetry is found in the higher level of organisms, or in the, it is a characteristic features of, it is advanced phylum. But here, adult will have the radial symmetry, right? See, this is the starfish. Yes, so it has a, which symmetry? It has a radial symmetry. Okay, so adult will have the radial symmetry, whereas larva will have the bilateral symmetry. That's a very peculiar feature of this phylum. Remember that. In which phylum the adult will have the radial symmetry and larva will have the bilateral symmetry. It is in the phylum Echinodermata. Yes, now remaining features. Germinal layers, whether 3 or 2, 3 are there. So it is triploblastic organization. Then organ system level of organization. It's almost advanced, and it's one of the last phylum under the non-chordate. Then coelom. Yes, they have the true coelom. So it is known as coelomate animals. Then next very important feature about their organ system. Which organ system? First let us understand. It's a digest system. Is it complete? Yes, the digest system is complete. So a complete digestive system means what should have? It should have a mouth and anus. But here one of the specific feature is that usually in other animals, when it comes to the higher next category and all, mouth will be on dorsal side. Okay, in other animals, then anus will be on the ventral side. But here just opposite. Mouth is on the, yes, mouth will be on the ventral side. Anus is on the dorsal side. Okay, digest system is complete. About the digest system we are speaking now. So it is, digest system is complete. How? With mouth. On which side? It is on ventral side. Okay, so if you take the starfish, there will be a, see, they'll have like these structures. Okay, so which helps for their movement. Small structures are there. Okay, that side is the ventral side. On that side you can see the mouth. Okay, on the dorsal side you can see the, on the dorsal side you can see the anus. Ventral side, this is the dorsal view. So on the dorsal view there is a anus, and on the ventral view there is a mouth. So complete digestive system with the mouth on the dorsal, mouth on the ventral side and anus on the dorsal side. Then another very distinctive feature of this phylum Mollusca is the water canal system you studied in the phylum Porifera. But here water vascular system. The water vascular system function is, what's the function of this? Which is a, here water vascular system means it, this tentacle like structures are there on its which side? Ventral side. Okay, so that will be hanged out. They'll be taken in down. They'll be hanging down in the water. So like that many structures when it hangs and helps for movement. So that will collect the water, as well as that water pressure helps for their movement also. So water vascular system, or it is also known as ambulacral system. This is a very important characteristics feature of the phylum Echinodermata. Its function, it helps in locomotion. Then one function. Second function, what's the functions? Functions of water vascular system, locomotion. Then what else other functions? Obviously it will have the functions of excretory function. Then how can you collect its food? Obviously again it is from this method. So capture is not excretory, capture of food. Apart from that, you can say it is for transport of food, for transportation of food, for the capturing the food. Then another one for respiration. But excretory system is absent. Very well developed excretory system is not present. Excretory system is absent. So which system yet to study now? What's the next system? About the, so how if the excretory system is not there, then how they can excrete their body waste? Excretory system, it is not present, but that excretion occurs how? Through the body surface. Occurs through body surface. Excretion takes place through the body surface. Then circulatory system, it's not closed, it is open type of circulatory system. So I written CS, it is a circulatory system. Circulatory system is of open type of circulatory system. Then about their reproduction, so almost they are well developed. So seventh feature is here, sexes are separate. So what will term this as in a single term? It is dioecious. They are dioecious. So which development? Already I said there is a larva is there. So it is having a indirect development. Direct development is indirect. Then about their fertilization, external, and reproduction is sexual mode of reproduction. Examples, many examples are there. One is Asterias starfish. Then what are other examples? Echinus sea urchin. Okay, Echinus sea urchin, and there is a Cucumaria is there, sea cucumber. This is another example for phylum Echinodermata, which is called as sea urchin. It is also called as sea cucumber. The shape is like a cucumber, so it is sea cucumber. Then Ophiura, brittle star. Remember, Echinodermata have a high power of regeneration. They have the high power of regeneration. Regeneration capacity is high. Because if any, regeneration capacity is high. If any part of their body cut also, they can again regain that part. Okay, not whole body, but any part of their body got cut or lost, it can get it back, that structure, by the power of regeneration. So in the phylum, let me recapture once again Echinodermata, and let me wind up this session. So it has spiny bodied because have an endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles. They all are marine. A phylum which is completely marine. Then organ system level of organization. Adults have the radial symmetry, whereas the larvae will have the bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic. Organ system level of organization. There is a coelomate, complete digest system with mouth on ventral side, anus on dorsal side. Water vascular system, which helps for locomotion, transportation of food, capturing food, respiration, and excretory system is absent, okay, but occurs through the body surface. Circulatory system is open type, sexes are separate, there is an indirect development, regeneration capacity is high, then triploblastic. So all those examples, sea urchin, sea cucumber, then brittle star, Ophiura, Asterias.